The money habit that changes everything. The habit isn't earning more, it's paying yourself first and making investing automatic. This single habit changes the way people think about money, creates financial discipline, and builds wealth over time. Introduction. What if I told you that one simple money habit could completely change your life? Not next year. Not in 10 years. But starting today. Every millionaire you've ever admired. Every person who enjoys financial freedom. Every family that has broken the cycle of poverty. Shares one thing in common. It isn't a secret investment. It isn't a six-figure salary. It isn't winning the lottery. It's a habit. A habit so simple that almost anyone can start it. Yet most people never do. Why? Because they spend their entire lives chasing more money instead of learning how money actually works. They believe that if they could just earn a little more, everything would change. But here's the truth. Some people earn thousands every month and remain broke. Others earn ordinary incomes yet quietly build extraordinary wealth. The difference isn't how much they make. The difference is what they repeatedly do with what they make. And that's exactly what you're about to discover. If you continue living without this habit, you'll likely stay trapped in the same cycle, working harder, earning more, spending more, and wondering why financial freedom never comes. But if you master this one habit, your relationship with money can begin to change forever. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this habit has transformed millions of lives, how to build it step by step, and how it can help you create a future that most people only dream about. So don't skip ahead. Don't let distractions steal this moment. Because the next few minutes could completely change the way you think about money, and perhaps the rest of your life. Let's begin. Chapter 1: Powerful Hook. Imagine waking up 10 years from today. You check your bank account. Instead of anxiety. Instead of wondering how you'll pay your bills. Instead of praying that your next paycheck arrives before your next expense. You see peace. You see security. You see options. You see freedom. Now imagine the opposite. You worked hard for 10 years. You sacrificed your time. You woke up early. You stayed late at work. You earned thousands, maybe even millions over your lifetime. Yet your account is still empty. Retirement feels impossible. Debt follows you everywhere. And every unexpected expense becomes another crisis. What separates these two lives? Is it luck? Is it talent? Is it having rich parents? No. For most people, the difference comes down to one simple habit. A habit so small that most people ignore it. A habit that doesn't require a high-paying job. A habit that doesn't depend on your age, education, or where you were born. It's a habit that quietly transforms ordinary people into financially secure people. While everyone else is chasing more money, those who truly build wealth focus on something completely different. They master one habit. And once this habit becomes part of who they are, everything changes. Their stress changes. Their confidence changes. Their decisions change. Their future changes. In today's video, you're going to discover the money habit that has changed countless lives. You'll hear inspiring stories. You'll learn the psychology behind lasting wealth. You'll understand why most people remain trapped in the same financial cycle year after year. Most importantly, you'll leave knowing exactly how to build this habit yourself. Because wealth isn't built by one lucky day. It's built by one wise habit, repeated over and over again. Stay with me until the end. This lesson could completely change the way you think about money, and perhaps the direction of your entire future. Chapter 2: Welcome to Psychology of Success. Welcome back to Psychology of Success. This is the place where we explore the timeless principles of wealth, discipline, success, and personal growth. Principles that have transformed the lives of ordinary people into extraordinary success stories. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, we share powerful lessons designed to help you master your mind, improve your habits, and create the future you've always dreamed of. If you've been with us for a while, welcome back. Your commitment to learning and growing already sets you apart from the majority of people. Every time you choose knowledge over entertainment, discipline over distraction, and growth over comfort, you're investing in a better version of yourself. Today's lesson is one of the most important financial lessons you may ever hear. Not because it promises instant riches. Not because it reveals some hidden shortcut. But because it focuses on something far more powerful: a habit. History has shown that wealth is rarely created by one big event. It is built through small decisions repeated consistently over time. A single habit can influence how you spend, how you save, how you invest, how you think, how you respond to opportunities, and ultimately, the kind of life you create. Think about the habits that shape your day. You brush your teeth without thinking. You check your phone almost automatically. You follow routines so often that they become part of who you are. Money works the same way. Your financial future is not determined by one paycheck or one investment. It is shaped by the financial habits you repeat every single week, every single month, and every single year. The encouraging news is that habits can be changed. No matter where you are today, whether you're struggling with debt, living paycheck to paycheck, trying to save your first $1,000, or already building wealth, the right habit can move you in a completely different direction. As we continue, I encourage you to listen with an open mind. Don't just ask yourself, "Is this interesting?" Ask yourself, "How can I apply this to my own life?" Because knowledge alone doesn't change lives. Applied knowledge does. So find a quiet place, remove every distraction, and give yourself permission to focus. The lesson you're about to hear isn't just about making more money. It's about changing the way you think about money forever. Let's continue. Chapter 3: Why most people never build wealth. Have you ever wondered why so many hardworking people never become wealthy? Think about it. Every morning, millions of people wake up before sunrise. They fight through traffic. They work long hours. They sacrifice time with their families. They do everything society tells them to do. Yet year after year, nothing seems to change. Their paycheck comes in. The bills take their share. The rent is paid. The groceries are bought. Unexpected expenses appear. By the end of the month, very little remains. Then the cycle begins again. It's a cycle that repeats itself not for weeks or months, but for decades. Many people believe this happens because they don't earn enough money. At first, that sounds reasonable. But if earning more money were the answer, why do we hear stories of professional athletes who earned millions and later went bankrupt? Why do celebrities with enormous incomes lose everything? Why do lottery winners, people who receive more money than most of us could imagine, often end up in financial trouble just a few years later? The answer is both simple and uncomfortable. Money does not solve money problems. Habits do. A person who spends every dollar they earn will usually spend every dollar they earn, even if their income doubles. When income increases without wisdom, expenses usually increase too. This is known as lifestyle inflation. The nicer car, the bigger house, the latest phone, designer clothes, luxury vacations. Each purchase feels like a reward. Individually, they don't seem dangerous. But together, they quietly steal the future. Many people don't become poor because they make one terrible financial decision. They become poor because they repeat hundreds of small financial mistakes without realizing it. Every unnecessary purchase whispers the same lie. You deserve this now. But no one asks the more important question. What will this decision cost me 5 years from today? We live in a world designed to make spending easy. Advertisements follow us everywhere. Social media convinces us that success must look expensive. Companies compete for one thing: our attention and our wallets. They want us to buy first and think later. The wealthy think differently. Before they spend, they ask, "Will this purchase bring me temporary pleasure or lasting value?" That single question changes everything. Story: The Two Neighbors. Imagine two neighbors, David and Michael. Both are 25 years old. Both graduate from college in the same year. Both find jobs that pay exactly the same salary. At first, their lives look identical. But their habits are completely different. David spends almost everything he earns. Every pay raise becomes an excuse to upgrade his lifestyle. A newer car. A bigger television. More expensive clothes. More dinners out. He believes he'll start saving when he earns more. Michael makes a different choice. The day he receives his first paycheck, he sets aside a small percentage before spending anything else. It isn't much. Some months it's difficult. Some months he wishes he could spend it instead. But he refuses to break the habit. 10 years pass. David earns more than ever before. Yet he's buried in debt. One unexpected emergency throws his entire life into chaos. Michael also earns more than before. But his savings have grown. His investments have multiplied. He sleeps peacefully because he knows he's prepared for life's surprises. The difference wasn't luck. It wasn't intelligence. It wasn't a better job. It was one habit repeated over and over again. That is the hidden truth about wealth. Success is rarely created by dramatic moments. It is created by small decisions that most people overlook. And in the next chapter, you're about to discover the one money habit that separates those who remain trapped in the cycle from those who build lasting financial freedom. That habit has changed millions of lives. It can change yours too. Chapter 4: The One Money Habit That Changes Everything. So, what is the one money habit that changes everything? It is this. Pay yourself first. Before you pay your landlord. Before you pay your electricity bill. Before you buy new clothes. Before you order food you don't really need. Before you spend money on anything else. Pay yourself first. At first, this idea sounds strange. Most people have never been taught to think this way. From childhood, we're taught to pay everyone else first. We work. We receive our salary. Then we begin paying bills. By the time we've finished paying everyone else, there's almost nothing left for ourselves. And when there is something left, we promise ourselves, I'll start saving next month. But next month becomes next year. And next year becomes the next decade. That's why so many hardworking people reach retirement with very little to show for years of effort. The wealthy reverse this process. The moment money enters their hands, they remove a portion for their future before touching the rest. It doesn't have to be a huge amount. It could be 5%. It could be 10%. It could even be 2% if that's all you can afford today. The amount is less important than the habit. Because the habit trains your mind to see yourself as someone whose future matters. Every time you pay yourself first, you're sending yourself a powerful message. My future is worth investing in. That simple decision changes your identity. You stop living only for today. You begin preparing for tomorrow. And once this habit becomes automatic, something remarkable happens. Your spending starts to change. You become more intentional. You stop asking, can I afford this? Instead, you ask, is this worth delaying my financial freedom? That question has the power to save you thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Story: Sarah's turning point. Sarah was a young office worker. She wasn't rich. Her salary was just enough to cover her monthly expenses. Every payday felt exciting. She would tell herself, I've worked hard. I deserve to enjoy this money. By the middle of the month, most of it was gone. When an emergency happened, she had only one option: borrow money. The stress kept growing. One evening, she attended a financial seminar. The speaker said something she had never forgotten. Don't save what's left after spending. Spend what's left after saving. Those words challenged everything she believed. The following month, Sarah made one decision. Before paying a single bill, she transferred a small amount into a separate savings account. It wasn't much. In fact, she worried it wouldn't make any difference. But she refused to skip it. Month after month, she repeated the habit. At first, it felt uncomfortable. She had to say no to things she used to buy without thinking. But something unexpected happened. She became more creative with her spending. She planned her purchases. She stopped buying things just because they were on sale. Within a year, she had built her first emergency fund. For the first time in her life, an unexpected expense didn't create panic. A few years later, she began investing part of what she had saved. Her money slowly began earning money. She hadn't become wealthy because she won the lottery. She became financially stronger because she changed one habit. That is the true power of paying yourself first. It doesn't just build your bank account. It builds confidence. It builds discipline. It builds peace of mind. And perhaps most importantly, it builds a future that your present self cannot yet imagine. Remember this. Money grows where consistency lives. Not where excuses live. Not where intentions live. But where disciplined habits are practiced again and again. In the next chapter, we'll uncover the psychology behind this habit, why your brain naturally resists it, and how understanding your mind can make this habit easier to build and impossible to break. Chapter 5: The Psychology Behind This Habit. Have you ever promised yourself, "This month, I'll finally save money," only to find yourself spending it before the month was over? If so, you're not alone. The problem isn't that you're lazy. The problem isn't that you're incapable of building wealth. The problem is that your brain is wired to seek immediate rewards. Psychologists call this instant gratification. It's the tendency to choose a small reward now instead of a much bigger reward later. Imagine a child sitting in front of a piece of chocolate. An adult tells the child, "You can eat this chocolate right now. But if you wait just 15 minutes, I'll give you 2. Some children eat it immediately. Others wait patiently. Years of research have shown that people who learn to delay gratification often perform better in many areas of life, including education, relationships, health, and finances. Money works the same way. Every day, life presents you with choices. Buy the latest phone. Or invest in your future. Spend everything this weekend. Or build financial security. The decision may seem small. But repeated over months and years, those choices shape your destiny. Your brain loves comfort. It loves pleasure. It loves convenience. That's why advertisements are so effective. They don't just sell products. They sell emotions. They tell you that buying something will make you happier, more successful, more attractive, or more respected. For a few moments, it feels true. But that feeling fades. Then another advertisement appears. And the cycle begins again. This is why so many people confuse spending with happiness. Real financial freedom isn't built on emotional decisions. It's built on intentional decisions. Every time you pay yourself first, you're teaching your brain something powerful. I am in control. Not my emotions. Not my impulses. Not the latest trend. I decide where my money goes. That single shift changes your identity. And when your identity changes, your habits begin to change naturally. Story: James and the shoes. James loved expensive sneakers. Whenever a new pair was released, he convinced himself he needed them. He would stand in long lines, refresh websites for hours, even use part of his savings just to own the latest design. For a few days, he felt excited. Friends complimented him. He posted photos online. But after a while, the excitement disappeared. Then another new pair came out. The cycle repeated itself. One day, James calculated how much he had spent on shoes over 5 years. The number shocked him. If he had invested even half that money, it could have grown into something meaningful. That realization changed him. He didn't stop buying things he enjoyed. Instead, he created a new rule. Before buying anything he didn't truly need, he would wait 48 hours. If he still believed it was worth it after 2 days, he would buy it. Most of the time, the urge disappeared. He discovered that many of his purchases were driven by emotion, not necessity. That simple pause saved him thousands of dollars. More importantly, it gave him control over his decisions. The lesson is simple. You don't become wealthy by never spending money. You become wealthy by making sure your money serves your goals instead of your impulses. Every dollar is a choice. A choice between today and tomorrow. Between comfort and growth. Between temporary pleasure and lasting freedom. The people who master this habit aren't stronger than everyone else. They simply learn to pause before they spend. That pause becomes discipline. That discipline becomes consistency. And consistency becomes wealth. As we move into the next chapter, you'll discover a powerful story of two friends who started with the same salary but ended up living completely different lives. Not because of luck, but because of the habits they chose every single day. Chapter 6. Two friends, the same salary. Two completely different lives. There is a saying that goes, "Your future is hidden inside your daily habits." At first, those words sound simple. But if you truly understand them, they have the power to transform your financial future forever. Many people believe that wealth is created in dramatic moments. They imagine that one big promotion, one successful business, or one lucky investment will suddenly change everything. But the truth is very different. Wealth is rarely built in one extraordinary moment. It is built in thousands of ordinary moments. The decision to save instead of spend. The decision to invest instead of impress. The decision to think about tomorrow instead of living only for today. To understand this truth, let me tell you a story. Story 1. The journey of Daniel and Samuel. Daniel and Samuel grew up in the same neighborhood. They attended the same secondary school. They played football together every evening. Both dreamed of becoming successful one day. After graduation, they were hired by the same company. Their starting salary was exactly the same. Their working hours were the same. Their opportunities were the same. On payday, they laughed together as they checked their bank accounts. "One day," Daniel said, smiling, "we're going to be rich." Samuel smiled too. "But only if we learn how to keep what we earn." Daniel laughed. "What difference does it make? We'll earn more as time goes on." For the first few months, their lives looked almost identical. Then their habits quietly began to separate them. Every Friday evening, Daniel celebrated payday. New clothes. New shoes. Expensive dinners. Weekend parties. Whenever a new phone was released, Daniel wanted it. Whenever his friends planned a trip, he never wanted to be left out. His favorite sentence became, "I'll save when I start earning more." Samuel enjoyed life too. But every payday, before spending a single dollar, he transferred 10% of his salary into a separate account. It wasn't easy. Sometimes he wanted the latest gadgets. Sometimes he felt tempted to spend everything. But he reminded himself of one simple promise. "My future deserves something from today's paycheck." Months turned into years. Daniel's salary increased. So did his spending. A bigger apartment. A newer car. More subscriptions. More luxury. Every pay raise disappeared almost as quickly as it arrived. Samuel also received promotions. But instead of increasing his lifestyle with every raise, he increased his savings and investments. He learned about compound growth. He began investing patiently. His money quietly started working while he slept. One evening, nearly 10 years later, the two friends met again. Daniel looked exhausted. Despite earning more than ever before, he was drowning in debt. His credit cards were full. His car loan consumed a large part of his income. One unexpected medical emergency had almost destroyed his finances. Samuel looked different. Not because he wore expensive clothes. Not because he drove a luxury car. He looked peaceful. There was confidence in the way he spoke. He had an emergency fund. His investments were growing. He wasn't rich overnight. He had simply repeated one habit for 10 years. Daniel looked at his old friend and asked, "How did you get so far ahead?" Samuel smiled gently. "I didn't find a shortcut. I just refused to spend the money that belonged to my future." Those words stayed with Daniel long after they went home. Lesson from Daniel and Samuel. Many people spend years searching for the perfect investment, the perfect business, the perfect opportunity. But before any of those things matter, your habits matter. Income can create opportunity, But habits determine whether opportunity becomes wealth. If you cannot manage a small income wisely, a larger income usually creates larger problems. That's why financial discipline is far more valuable than financial luck. Now let me tell you another story. Story 2: The Shop Owner Who Almost Lost Everything. There was a small shop owner named Grace. Her business was doing well. Customers came every day. Sales kept increasing. Everyone around her assumed she was becoming wealthy. But they couldn't see what was happening behind the scenes. Every time the business made more money, Grace spent more money. She upgraded her lifestyle before strengthening her business. She bought expensive furniture, designer handbags, jewelry, a luxury car. She wanted success to look successful. Then one difficult year arrived. Sales dropped. Suppliers increased their prices. Several important customers stopped buying. Within months, Grace found herself struggling to pay her workers. She couldn't understand what had happened. "My business was making good money," she said. An older businessman listened quietly. Then he asked her one question. "When your business earned more money, did you build reserves, or did you build a lifestyle?" Grace lowered her head. She already knew the answer. Over the next 3 years, she completely changed her habits. She paid herself first. She created an emergency fund for the business. She invested in improving her shop instead of impressing strangers. She learned that real wealth is often invisible. It isn't always seen in luxury cars or expensive clothes. Sometimes real wealth looks like patience, preparation, discipline, peace of mind. Years later, another economic downturn came. Many businesses around her closed. Grace's business survived. Not because she was lucky, but because her habits had prepared her long before the crisis arrived. Apply this lesson to your own life. Pause for a moment and ask yourself these questions. If your income doubled tomorrow, would your savings double too? Or would your spending simply increase? If an emergency happened next month, would you be prepared? Or would you immediately depend on borrowing money? Are you building a future? Or only financing your present? These questions aren't meant to discourage you. They're meant to awaken you. Because awareness is the first step toward transformation. The good news is this: no matter what your financial past looks like, you can choose a different habit today. And one good habit, repeated consistently, can change the direction of your entire life. In the next chapter, we'll discover why small amounts of money, invested consistently, often create greater wealth than large amounts saved only once. You'll learn why consistency beats intensity, and why the smallest financial habit can eventually produce extraordinary results. Chapter 7: Why Small Amounts Matter More Than Big Paychecks. If I offered you a choice between receiving $1 million today or receiving one penny that doubled in value every day for the next 30 days, which would you choose? Most people wouldn't even hesitate. They would take the $1 million. After all, a penny seems almost worthless. What difference could one penny possibly make? That question reveals one of the greatest financial misunderstandings in the world. Our minds are naturally drawn to big numbers. We dream about winning the lottery. We hope for a massive promotion. We imagine receiving an unexpected inheritance. We're attracted to dramatic financial breakthroughs because they feel exciting. But wealth is rarely built through dramatic moments. It is built through consistent actions that seem almost invisible at first. A single coin may not look impressive. A single dollar may not change your life. A single investment may seem too small to matter. But when those small actions are repeated week after week, month after month, and year after year, they begin to create something extraordinary. The problem is that most people quit before they ever reach that point. They look at their first savings and say, "This isn't enough." They look at their first investment and think, "What's the point?" Then they stop. Not because the habit failed, but because they expected instant results. Nature teaches us a different lesson. Think about planting a seed. On the first day, nothing appears. After 1 week, the soil still looks empty. After several weeks, there may still be no visible change. Does that mean the seed is dead? Of course not. Beneath the surface, something important is happening. Roots are growing. Strength is developing. The foundation is being built. Money behaves the same way. The early stages of saving often feel slow. The numbers don't seem impressive. But beneath the surface, another kind of growth is taking place. You're developing patience. You're building discipline. You're proving to yourself that you can keep a promise. Those qualities are far more valuable than the money itself because they stay with you for life. Story 1. The Mechanic Who Saved $5 a Day. In a small town lived a mechanic named Daniel. He wasn't wealthy. His workshop was simple, and his income depended on how many customers came each week. Many days were good. Some days were difficult. Whenever people talked about investing or building wealth, Daniel would smile and say, "That's for people who earn much more than I do." One afternoon, an elderly customer noticed Daniel complaining about never having enough money. The old man asked him, "Can you save $5 today?" Daniel laughed. $5 won't change my life." The old man smiled and replied, "No, but the habit might." Those words stayed with Daniel. The next morning, before opening his workshop, he placed $5 into a small box. He repeated the process every day. Some days he wanted to skip it. Some days business was slow. Some days unexpected expenses appeared. But he made himself keep the promise. Months passed. The box slowly filled. Eventually, Daniel opened a savings account and transferred the money. Later, he began investing a portion of it. Years passed. That tiny daily habit became the foundation of his financial security. Looking back, Daniel realized something important. The $5 had never been the real miracle. The miracle was becoming the kind of person who always paid his future first. Story 2. The Teacher Who Waited Too Long. Grace had always believed she would start saving when life became easier. After graduation, she found a teaching job. Her salary wasn't high, but she believed she still had plenty of time. Then she wanted a better phone, a new wardrobe, a vacation, a nicer apartment. Every year, she promised herself that next year would be different. 15 years passed. One evening, she attended the retirement celebration of an older colleague. As she listened to stories about decades of service, one thought kept echoing in her mind. What have I actually built for my own future? That question haunted her. She went home, opened her bank account, and realized she had almost nothing saved despite years of hard work. Instead of giving up, Grace decided to begin. She started with a small percentage of every paycheck. She tracked her spending. She reduced unnecessary expenses. She invested consistently. Although she started later than she wished, she proved that the best time to begin may have been years ago, but the second best time is today. Her greatest regret wasn't earning too little. It was waiting too long. Story 3. The Market Woman. Every morning before sunrise, a woman named Esther arranged fruit at her market stall. Some days she sold everything. Other days she returned home with baskets still full. Her income was unpredictable. Many people assumed she could never save because she earned too little. But Esther followed one rule. Before buying anything for herself, she placed a small portion of each day's earnings into a separate envelope. It didn't matter whether it was a large amount or a small one. The habit never changed. Years later, when her children needed school fees, she paid them without borrowing. When her stall needed repairs, she had the money ready. Eventually, she expanded into a larger shop while many traders earning more than she did remained trapped in debt. People called her lucky. They never saw the years of discipline behind her success. Luck had very little to do with it. Habit had everything to do with it. The lesson: every great financial journey begins with an amount that feels insignificant. Never underestimate what small, consistent actions can become. The tree that provides shade today once looked too small to notice. The river that shapes mountains begins as tiny drops of water. The wealth that inspires others often begins with a decision that nobody else applauds. Don't wait until you have more money to build the habit. Build the habit now, and one day you'll have more money because of it. Remember, small amounts invested consistently will always defeat large amounts that are never invested at all. As we continue, you'll discover one of the most powerful forces in finance, a force so extraordinary that Albert Einstein is often credited with calling it the eighth wonder of the world. It's called the compound effect, and once you understand it, you'll never look at money the same way again.